Hello and welcome to DG360. This is Tech Tuesday, and yes, it's Friday. I like to confuse you, actually. We put these highlights on my YouTube channel every Tuesday. You're watching it here live. If you're with me, you're on a Friday. I just have to explain these things to you. I am your guide through this journey. Okay, just hold my hand. It's gonna be okay. I swear. Oh, your hand's kind of sweaty. Don't hold my hand anymore. Take your hand out of my hand. It's too sweaty. Oh my God, we're gonna talk about Unity. Have you guys heard what's going on? Have you guys heard what's going on?
Hello and welcome to Tuesday Newsday.
This is completely wild. The Unity engine and what they're going to charge developers for the downloads are ridiculous and will kill Unity. It is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Your #1 resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. This
is another cry engine. This is absolutely another cry engine. Shoot yourself in the foot by all moment. Absolutely, Fingers. Hold on, Fingers nailed this one right from the very, very start. He deserves it. His sound effect. Let's go, Fingers. Good job, Fingers. I love the agents came in with a rate of 13 people and 10 of them have left. Can we get applause? Can we get applause for the mongrels that are still here? Congratulations, you have taste. You have a brain. You need your friends to have them as well. And I'm sorry that they don't. It's something that just, I don't think you can fix it.
Working on a video covering, without a doubt, the best VR glove solution I've ever tried. But of course, all hell breaks loose, so here we are. Some massive changes were just announced to be coming to Unity, and I'm going to catch you up on all of it. It's a pretty huge deal for the entire...
This is the most corpo BS I've ever seen in my entire existence in the gaming world, man. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. They are shooting themselves in the foot.
Gaming industry, but I think in quite a few ways, this really disproportionately affects the VR industry quite a bit.
Practical Gas says, I will have to have a word with Soriel about this. Definitely do. Soriel's got good taste as well. He's got high intelligence, so you're hanging out with the right people. You're hanging out with the right people, Practical Gas.
More than others, and it's a terrible situation all around. But that's definitely not it. Pretty concrete rumors on a possible Valve Index 2 and a very interesting accompanying piece of hardware from Valve, and we got some new VR games to talk about. So let's just get right into the thick of it this time. Let's talk about what the heck has been going on with Unity. And just to catch you up to speed in case you have no idea what Unity is or why this all matters, well, Unity is one of the most popular game engines in the world. Tens of thousands of games run on it. If you've played just a few games made in the past 20 years, especially VR games, you've probably played a Unity game. And the company has built up a pretty decent reputation as a trustworthy and good place to spend a few years making something like, well, a game. And, well, this past couple of days, everything has kind of flipped on its head, and a lot of people...
Yeah, and I think the game that Thrillseeker's making is in Unity. I'd like to hear his opinion about that. Man, these developers, they gotta be so angry. These guys that put their blood, sweat, and tears into their project is using Unity now. And how are you gonna keep track of pirating? How are you gonna, because they do it by downloads. And they say they've got a way to figure that out. I don't believe that one bit. I don't believe that one bit from Unity. Sure they do. They're speaking in generalities. Have you guys been following this? It's crazy news. It's crazy in the game world.
People are very, very angry, and that's honestly, to put it lightly. It has complete...
It's blowing up. It's blowing up.
We hit the fan. And right now, there's a mass exodus of developers that don't even want to be associated with Unity. Multiple Unity devs have resigned, and the executives are even being called into question for possible insider trading, breaking down what was almost 2 decades of
Unity bosses sold stock days before development fees announcement. Man. Think about that for a moment, that the corpos cashed out before the announcement. I mean, like, they knew it was bad. They knew what they were doing was bad. They held themselves accountable. They knew what they were doing was bad. They cashed out the stock, man. They even knew it. They're imploding it on purpose, man. They're just trying to siphon as much as they can. They're trying to pack their bags and pick up the cashola. What's going on there? What's going on inside Unity right now? I want to get, who's that guy? That CoffeeZilla on this.
Trust.
CoffeeZilla.
So, what happened? Well, to put it simply, Unity introduced a complete change in their pricing model. Beforehand, Unity was free as long as you made less than $100,000. And after that threshold, you'd have to pay for the Pro version, which was $400 per year per chair or person on a team that was using Unity. And well, the new pricing model is not only a lot more expensive, but it's really intrusive. That $400 per year per user has shot all the way up to over $2,000 per person per year.
And one of these, and one of these.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Fucking A, man. This just squashes down all creativity by developers that can't afford it, man. It's ridiculous. This shit should not be this expensive. Like, this is crazy, man. On top of the fees that they're going to charge per download with Unity and any title, man. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Year. But that's not even close to the bad part. Unity has introduced a fee per install, and the way this works is kind of mind-boggling. If you're using the free version of Unity, which you can continue to do so, for every install over 200,000, a fee of 20 cents per install is incurred. So if you sell 500,000 copies of a $10 game, that's $60,000 that the developer would have been making.
Listen, I'm not terrible at business, Sketch. I'm telling you, the most successful game companies take care of the gamers, man. Like, the problem with the corpos is a lot of the corpos aren't connected with the gaming base, Sketch. If these guys made this shit cheap and affordable and gave them and basically mass adopted it and gave reasonable, fair fucking ways to make money, this is over the top. This is over the top. It's not a smart way to conduct business as a gaming business. Period. This is over the top. It's ridiculous.
But is now instead an extra fee on top of the 30% Steam or the Oculus Store would take, on top of a 10 to 25% publisher fee, on top of revenue tax and payroll to make a game with a team or even...
I think titles deserve a shot, man. I mean, listen, I think if you're a developer and you want to get your name out there and you've created something that you put your blood, sweat, and tears in, you should at least be given a chance, you know? A lot of the best titles in the world right now, including what's going on with Falling Frontier. And what is his name? Todd. Nice guy. How about the dude that's creating Manor Lords? How about these independent developers that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears and things? They deserve the hosting? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even so low. Yeah. And if you pay for that now $2,000 per person per year Pro or Enterprise license, you are still not free of that install fee. If you meet the threshold of 1 million installs, the developers would still be charged anywhere from 12 cents to 1 cent per install, depending on...
How are they going to track this? There's literally... What are the analytics? What's the tool that they're using to track these installs, man? And what's to say? I heard a little blib of news that said that if somebody were to install it, they get charged. If somebody were to delete it off of their hard drive and then reinstall it, then it's another charge. If they then deleted it again and reinstalled on their PC, another charge, man. Like, come on.
On how many installs they accrue. And the feedback was pretty unanimous. Developers from around the world, big and small, absolutely hate the idea, and this has probably been the biggest backlash I have ever seen from the gaming community, at least since Microsoft tried to ship a console with an always-on DRM. Except this time, it's backlash almost entirely from the developers. And to most people, this may not seem like a massive deal. Devs just have to pay more, sorry. But there's a lot more to this. But I want to take a quick second to talk about why this is a really big deal for VR in particular. This change in general is going to affect the small guys the worst. Indie developers where profit margins can be really small, especially for a VR project. If you lose, for example, $60,000 of revenue that you would have before, that's not a small amount to any developer, let alone an indie dev. That's an entire year of wages for a team member or rent for a place to develop out of. So obviously VR, which is almost entirely full of indie developers, is going to be directly.
It's a dumb business decision because you're killing your lone lifeblood. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face. Unity should know better. Their lifeblood are the developers. Unity's lifeblood are these indie developers that come to it, and therefore their fee structure is literally fucking the developers up their own a-holes, man. It is the dumbest business move I have ever seen. It is dumb. They rely on those developers, man. The indie scene is taking over. AAA games are dying like legacy media. And Unity is part of this movement. And what do? They shot themselves in the foot.
Affected. But that's actually not even the main reason why this is huge for VR. Look, fact is, most VR games actually run on Unity. Of course, there's lots and lots of exceptions, but if you look at it, most of them run on Unity. And a lot of those VR developers were some of the loudest in opposition.
And they did know. Just a name change is absolutely right. These guys knew exactly what was going to happen when the announcement came out, and that's why they sold their shares, man. They got the F out. Why they would do it, though, and self-mutilate themselves and shoot themselves in the foot, maybe it's a cash grab. Maybe they just wanted to get the cash and get the F out of Dodge and be done and over with it. I don't know. It's stupid. It's stupid. Gamers, and the gamer world is going to react like this. If you're in the gaming world and you're trying to make money, this is not the way to go about things.
Because it really affects their day-to-day life. From the Vertigo dev to Anton from H3, this is going to affect multiple VR developers. And a lot of these VR games run on Unity for a reason. I'd bet that even if you ask Unreal developers, they'd probably tell you that Unity, at least out of the gate, has the best VR support out of any current game engine, especially when you take into account building for standalone Quest, which is all—
Sketch, you're making this all about money, man, and I get it, but it's more than money when you got a business idea. It's the philosophy behind what you're doing to the very lifeblood of the people that are using your product. You got to actually care. You do have to care. The business models that care are the ones that got the most successful, made the most money because they actually listened to the base that was buying it. Now, over time, that became greedy and corporate and life-sucking. But it starts out that way. What's up, Hobbit?
Well, Fredo, start there.
When you literally shit on the people that are making you the money that you're making by doing something like this in a space where if you do something like this, it's going to enrage everybody and sell your own stock positions because by saying this, it's literally going to tank it. Something's up here, dude. I don't know what you're getting at, Sketch. I don't know what you're getting at. You're making this a completely issue. The issue here between feelings and money, I get what you're saying. You're saying capitalism. You're saying, corporate Gordon Gekko stuff. I understand. I get what you're coming from on this. But as a business model, you have to care about the people, about the product. And that raises that level of quality up. And people will want it because they see the people behind it actually care for a bit. Until they get so big and have so many different board changes that you don't even recognize it anymore. And then they're just sucking all the money out of your eyeballs and your pockets, man. That's how the game's played, Sketch. So I get what you're saying. I'm talking about right now with the indie space blowing up, how important it is for these indie developers right now and how important it is for an engine that relies on indie developers to do this. Man, come on.
Also, the reason my VR game I've been working on was in Unity. And on top of that, Meta seemingly just puts a lot more effort into keeping its VR packages up to date on Unity versus, for example, Unreal Engine. But this actually goes a bit deeper into how this affects VR. This isn't just Quest in PC VR. This is probably the worst timing for Apple and the Vision Pro, because where did Apple put their Vision Pro development tools beyond their own Reality Kit and SwiftUI? You got it, all on Unity. Nothing for Unreal Engine, also they're in a lawsuit with Epic Games, so kind of makes sense. And right now, developers are en masse essentially boycotting the company and looking for alternatives, which means no devs, no software, and nothing to do with an expensive device like a Vision Pro. Of course, that is a bit of an exaggeration. Obviously, not everyone is just going to stop using Unity. Not everyone has that opportunity. But this is still a pretty darn big deal. And so with the absolute dumpster fire that resulted from this decision, you'd think Unity would revert or back down. There's a lot of devs that are just saying, I'm no longer using Unity. But instead, they doubled down, resulting in a decent amount of Unity developers themselves leaving the company, and then news broke out that multiple executives dumped their stock right before the surprise announcement was made. It's pretty sus. And this all brings up a lot of questions.
It's very
What
sus.
about free-to-play games like VRChat or Rec Room or Gorilla Tag with millions of downloads? Actually, the most used...
Dude, they laid the gaming industry in shambles after this move, man. Everybody using Unity right now has got to be like mad upset, just livid right now. Anybody using Unity right now has to be lit on fire. Literally, they have to be on fire. They're walking around right now. You can see any of these developers right now in the real world. They're walking around. They're driving their car. They're actually on fire right now, man.
VR titles. Is this going to be sustainable?
They're going to change engines. They're just going to change engines, and there goes Unity. And Unity will get flushed down the toilet, man.
These things, they all run on Unity. And then also, how is Unity actually counting every install? It sounds like that's kind of spyware-esque. I don't know. And can this system be abused? If someone doesn't like a game, can they uninstall and reinstall, charging 20 cents every time? There's a lot of...
It had to have been planned. It's a cat. They're just pulling the rug, and they're taking their money, and they're saying peace out and let it burn on the side without caring anymore. And they just gave up. Like, they just gave up collectively, man. They just gave up collectively, threw kerosene on what's left of it and lit a match. That's what they did. That's the only explanation I can come up with. They just wanted their quick cash, get out while the getting out's good, and whatever happens, and all the cucks that want to eventually continue to use Unity will pay them.
Unanswered questions, but regardless of the situation, it was a terrible move. And I think most people are in agreement with that. And at least short term, the next 6 to 12 months, if nothing changes on Unity's side.
And then you can exploit the system. Exactly. And then you're open to vulnerabilities, like DEF CON is saying. There could be groups of people that want to see your title fail, and what's going to end up happening, they're going to just mass install over and over. They're going to exploit the system. It's going to be too much money. The money's going to get charged and charged and charged. It's a terrible system. It's not thought out. It's badly planned. And well, it's actually executed perfectly, because that's what it was, a cash. They just want to take the cash and run. Go on, take the money and then run. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Could very well change quite a bit of how VR games are developed in the future. Flat out, a lot of devs are leaving Unity.
I mean, Tarkov uses this. Let's look at the games here. I got this going here. Let's look at all the games using Unity right now. I mean, Pokemon, that's pretty. The Rust, Subnautica, City Skylines, Pillars of Eternity. These are all titles I'm familiar with, man. I mean, come on. Kerbal, Tarkov. Look at all these guys using. These guys are going to get charged up the yin-yang. Can you imagine Tarkov downloads and installs, man? Dude, Tarkov alone. I mean, just Tarkov. Not to mention any of the other titles. That's insanity. Insanity, man. All these guys got to be scrambling for another engine right now. You know they're not going to continue to use Unity. That's like ridiculous. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself if you're a developer?
And I mean, just my personal anecdote, I'm probably migrating development of my own game to Unreal, which, by the way, side tangent, I also learned Unreal now has Nanite and Lumen.
Thrill's going over to Unreal. Thrill's going over. He's creating his game in Unreal, man. Unity's dead. Unity is dead.
To Unreal, which, by the way, side tangent, I also learned Unreal now has Nanite and Lumen support.
I mean, to think, James, that this could go back retroactively on titles already that have been using Unity for years, right? Right, James? I mean, think about that. That's craziness.
For VR, which looks freaking amazing. And maybe this means more games are about to start looking really good. I don't know. But I guess getting back to Unity, I really wish that they had just gone with the pricing model that Unreal Engine already has instead of making their service kind of predatory. Unreal right now is free to use, and if you make over $1 million, or certain stores are different, Epic Games gets a 5% clean and simple revenue share cut. There's no weird...
Bingo bango. Bingo bango. They know what's up. Unreal knows what's up. They know what's up. They know their gaming base. They know their base. They know their customer. They know their customer. Once they suck it all up, because they will, then you'll start seeing the craziness. Then you'll start seeing the craziness from Unreal Engine, but not until they've like decimated their competition. Not until everybody's using Unreal Engine. Then you'll start seeing some corpo shit.
Install fee, come on. And then there's Godot, which is a free and open source engine that also has VR support that people can check out. But I do think long-term for VR development in particular, this may be a kind of good thing. I mean, it really sucks right now, and this does have a disproportionate effect for the VR industry in particular, but we may be seeing a lot more Unreal Engine VR games in the next couple years. VR is inherently...
You think? Throw, that is the biggest understatement in the world, dude. That's real so nice, man.
Full of indies, and this is who this affects. And on top of that, VR game development is relatively new. A lot of people are just now really sinking their teeth into big projects, which is the perfect time for an engine swap. And with all of this new demand, maybe
something has to be going on over at Unity for this shit to happen, because the long term, the marathon of this is so much cash. Like, to walk away from the table for that quick grab is so stupid. Like, everybody involved at Unity is just one of the dumbest moves. Thrill is absolutely right. You just start getting VR mass adopted by Meta 3's the Quest coming out. What is it going to be, like $200 in 2024? They're going to start selling it, and you're telling me Unity's going to do this right now? That is like the dumbest thing. That's like the dude that takes, like, you know, the quick hit and doesn't think about the whole score. You know what I mean? Dumb.
We'll start getting better VR support from Meta and Epic, at least I'd hope so. But really, this whole decision on Unity's side is just terrible for developers, and that means it's bad for
maybe Sketch, you're right in terms of their business model. You know, maybe they were a sinking ship, and they, you know, like, maybe their business model, they weren't getting the revenues they needed to keep them afloat. Sketch, you know, on that I will agree with you. Maybe, like, the expenses were just too overwhelming for Unity, and they needed to find a way to scramble and make the revenue that they were, because their business model was bad. Now, if you're coming to me with that, then I understand, Sketch. Yeah. I get you there, bro.
Gamers, because who really eats the cost and lack of games? Both the developers and people buying more expensive games because things cost more.
Maybe this is probably a mad scramble. You know, Sketch, dude, I get what you're coming from. This is interesting. Yeah, this is an angle I wasn't thinking about. Perhaps it was like all hands on deck. You know, revenues suck, expenses exceed revenues. We're going to go bankrupt. We need to find out ways we can take money, what we can do. And then the board decides, hey, let's go ahead and do this idea. And the guys who are there that know this is a stupid idea, and they quit and they cash out. They say, sayonara, you guys are doing the wrong thing because it got voted through. Now I think we got to the crux of it. Look, we solved it. We solved it together.
I'm in a fountain.
They sold their shares because they knew that the decision that was going through, their business practices were probably shit. Their expenses exceeded their revenues. Their expenses exceeded their ability to make a profit because it was run bad inside. They went ahead and they put through ideas. The board voted for, hey, let's do this idea where we're charging per install. The main dudes over at Unity who were still on the board got voted against. The idea got submitted through. The guys who are like hardcore Unity dudes that were in it for the indie, that were in it for the love, got voted down. And they said, fuck you, we're going to cash our shares out. And that in peace, and they lit it on fire. And there's some of them just lit it on fire. The ones that passed it through had the power. They weren't connected to the gaming world. It went through. And now look what happens here. I think we solved it. I think we actually solved what is happening.
Just doesn't benefit anybody except for Unity. And I understand Unity needs to make more profits, but there are way better ways than what was presented. And I will say there are a lot of people that are kind of reactionarily saying that Unity is now dead. That's not really the case. But did this take a big chunk out of developer confidence in the platform?
They're barely breathing. Like, you know, they're not going to be alive very much longer. They're on a resuscitator, you know what I'm saying? Master Hobbit says, greetings. I've been watching your YouTube vids for a while. First time on the stream, and I love the VLDL reactions. What's up, man?
You're not gonna hate me.
Welcome, Master Hobbit, to the live amazing. I am glad you have made it here. Welcome. You are now an algorithm, dude. Now all you got to do is join the Discord and start posting things that you like, and then you'll be on your way, bro. Welcome to DG360, dude.
And drive a lot of developers elsewhere? You bet. I mean, shoot, it got me to install Unreal, and I think I might just stick around here. So yeah, unless anything changes, epic fail Unity, and I guess we'll see where things go. But in case you start seeing some changes in the next year or two,
Aether says that Unity was still clearly making money. You know what? Aether, I have not looked over any of their financials, so I'm not quite sure what the financial condition is. What I was speculating, it was all speculation. What I was saying there, it was like the most. It was really the Occam's razor of of what's going on in the situation. But I should take some time to actually look into the financials. I don't know if Unity was doing good or not financially. They could have been set. And Aether's saying Unity was clearly still making money. So it's a little strange, man.
The way games look and feel, well, you now know why.
Now I kind of want to see the financials. Now I kind of want to get into the financials. Anyway, I'm not going to get into any more of this. I'm going to tell you why. Because it's just it's a sad thing to see something like this happen. Because really, I think at the end of the day, what I really truly care and think about is the gaming industry, games themselves, the playability, the fun, the gamers that play them, and the developers that make them for the people that want to have a good time. I mean, at the end of the day, it's grassroots, it's gamers, and the developers. And the connection between the developers and the gamer base is so very important. And to see Unity do this, an engine that was, I thought, gaining a lot of traction. I mean, like, I literally thought Unity was going to really ball it up, you know, and just go crazy. And this is just a step, like 2, 3, 4 steps in the wrong direction. And I feel bad for all of the developers out there that have their titles in Unity. And like I said, it's a big list. It's a big list, man. And there's some very popular titles that you guys play, that I play, and it's just like, it's like dropping an atom bomb on these titles, man. It's literally like dropping an atom bomb on all these. Just beyond me. It's literally beyond me.